All right, good morning, everyone. This is Vivian, and welcome to our day 2 of our Prosperity Mindset Challenge. So I know, is this the link? I know I sent a link. Um, is this the one for the day 2 that you have to register?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I couldn't
We're in the
find.
right one.
I
We're in
edited
the right
the
room.
right. Well, I edited the first Prosperity Mindset Challenge, and then I'm like, what happened to my participants? The list like disappeared, right? So
Okay.
so today, good morning, good morning. Today we are gonna talk about another tool for your Prosperity Mindset Challenge. So I wanted to know yesterday when we did the like observing your thoughts to see what it is and the words that you say. Let's just hear from the viewers what showed up for you today if when you practice the 3 times a day of observing what you're saying and how you're saying things. Lauren, would you like to share with the group?
It's almost so natural that you don't realize you're saying it until you start that sense of awareness and the documentation. I mean, just writing it down.
Writing it down,
And
yeah.
it's it's almost like if you catch yourself, it's better if you just have a silent versus saying but, can't, what, and all that. So, and I noticed that my body was stronger not saying those words.
Yes. Not saying the but, or I need to, I want to, or you can't or shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you actually have a better night, or did you end your day differently because you're more observant of the words?
I had a different night, and I don't know how much of it was the full moon and just
Yes.
just being
Being, yes.
and just trying to quiet things down. So there was a lot of stuff incorporating in that, right? But then the whole mindfulness and being aware and that exercise, and then when you catch yourself not saying it, and then you feel your body, that's when I said, oh wow, I'm much stronger energetically and mindset.
Yep.
When I eliminate those words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because these are pre-programmed and it's automatic for us. It's become a habit. So when it becomes a habit, you think it's okay, like brushing your teeth. You don't even think about brushing your teeth because there's you got to go to bed, brush your teeth, or after lunch, after breakfast. But these are so automatic that's what happens. Oh, we lost Amy there. I was gonna ask her next. All right.
While she's coming back, the thing that almost was like, instead of saying need, then I transitioned to say want, but then I said, oh my goodness, that's also, so it's emotionally, you feel like want is like a stronger energetic word, but then so it's just, it's a phase, of awareness.
Yeah. I think, Amy, some of the people are not seeing us because they're texting me and saying that they are in a Zoom meeting, but they are not. Okay, so hold on a second, folks. Okay, we're gonna hold the recording here. Okay, so far there's Lauren, who's able to feel her body differently when she was paying attention to her words and how her body feels when she says certain words. How about you, Amy? What showed up for you yesterday when you started practicing? Amy, go ahead. Now Amy froze. Oh, we're having some technical difficulties. This is so interesting. All right, Amy, go ahead. It must be her internet going in and out.
Yeah, right. Zoom keeps kicking me out.
Okay. All right. So today, let's see. Are you here now? Can we hear you?
Back now. I switched my internet over.
Okay. Go ahead, Amy. What was going on for you during when you're more conscious of your words?
Yeah, what I noticed yesterday, actually, I had a huge influx of energy,
Okay.
which was interesting. I mean, I have a lot of different things going on, but I noticed what was mostly noticeable yesterday was I had this huge influx of energy, and I was able to really switch from task to task pretty quickly.
Nice.
Where normally sometimes it takes me some time. I have to get in a certain mindset. Or, if I've got all these things going on, a lot of, just a lot of time. It can take a lot of time for me to switch gears sometimes. But yesterday, what was the big thing was that like I was able to switch quickly from thing to thing and not get caught up in a story that
Awesome.
I could have created for myself.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing that. So today somebody brought up, and I don't know, like I said, she might be in a different room altogether, but somebody brought up the energy. Oh, there's Venus, the energy of debt, right? DEBT. And when you guys hear that word debt, what comes up for you?
A big load of crud.
And then how does it feel when you hear the word debt?
My chest and my upper shoulders just kind of, and then the stomach, and then yeah.
Okay, so Lauren's feeling something in her body when she hears the word debt. Amy, what shows up for you when you hear that word? Just hearing it, right? Like the initial reaction.
So hearing it initially, it's a constrictive energy.
Okay.
But I kind of have an unpopular opinion about debt. I see I've shifted, right? Over time, I've shifted. I view debt as just a choice that I made to have like a payment plan, maybe for something that I wanted to purchase, where it's just like, there's a fee that goes with it, but I've been able to extend the payments out to be able to afford something easier than having to come up with the entire chunk at that one time.
Okay. All right. So Venus, go ahead and share with us what's the initial reaction when you hear the word debt, DEBT? And even people that are watching on Facebook, type on the comments, please. I think Rosemary's watching through Facebook. What happens when you hear the word debt? Like what comes to your body, to your mind, to your heart?
Hey everybody, Lauren, I like your background.
I know, I'm telling you, like sprinkled donuts.
Right? So I'm like a little bit with like I feel constricted in my chest area.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that. But I like that new perspective that Amy gave, instead of looking at it as you're like at a loss or lack or everything like that. It's like you look at it as having instead of coming up with the whole chunk, you're able to kind of have that payment plan to pay as you want to. So thank you for that enlightenment.
All right. So I think Amy, very good. Amy, you're so wise per Lauren. Amy F., do you mind going to Wealthy Money Mindset? And I think some of the viewers would like to get the Zoom link. Rosemary, if you scroll down, there is a registration link there at the bottom, so you can actually come on live with us. So obviously, we're still playing with technology, so thank you for your patience. So this debt thing, because I know in the past, I grew up in the Philippines, right? So we didn't have credit cards when I was growing up there. And so for me, debt it became immediately associated with a bad thing initially, especially when I started having more and more of it. Because when I first got it here in America, I was able to pay off every 30 days. It doesn't matter how much I was spending, because I was a physical therapist at that time when I came here, immigrated from the Philippines. So it was easy for me to just pay that back immediately. So I really didn't have an experience of what debt was like until after you know, you get married, you have children, you have more expenses than you can imagine, right? Because what happens is our spending habits, our spending patterns, whatever it is, it doesn't matter how much we're making, less or more of it, we have our own habits, right? So then I started looking into the energetics of debt, because someone from you yesterday asked about, you know, how we visualized receiving $1 million, and then majority of the attendees started giving it away, right? Like, I want to help my parents. That's the first initial thing that just came to their mind. And it's an automatic response. If you notice with money, when we receive something, we have patterns that we do. It's just, oh, I gotta buy this, I gotta buy. That's the first thing, you know, it's like, because money is energy and it's like water, it flows. So as soon as we get it, our normal and natural tendency is to spend it right away, right? Where in fact, when we have a boatload of money coming in, we actually need to think of, the first thing is, what is the thing that made this happen? That's really the first step that we need to think about, like, how did I even get this boatload of money today? I'm sharing that because today, 2 of my Gold VIP clients, you know how I promised to help them get to 6 figures in 90 days. And I'm like, whoa, I think they just closed a $500 million deal, or 500 million pieces deal, whatever that is, right? That's like so many numbers that you can count. That's like 9 figures. And then, of course, I'm so happy and celebrating for them. And I'm super, super grateful that they are that I'm part of their lives, and this is happening. So this is how we shed light to our business. And then the card that I took out from the Work Your Light Oracle said to me to take a break, right? So I'm going, well, I guess I'm not going to offer this program anymore. You guys have to wait. No, I'm just kidding. So what I wanted to share with you is, when you're having fun and you're really doing your work, it would work, right? Like, so our minds can get focused on the debt. Because honestly, these 2 girls, they didn't have extra money, right? Going into debt, if you think of it as a bad thing, your mind labels debt as bad, you're never going to be able to spend anything beyond what you make. That's just the energy of debt, right? The other energy of debt, so go ahead, close your eyes for a second, because if I start looking at pictures, right, and then you start feeling this gravity of debt, think about when you have credit card debt, let's say you have a 20% interest rate, that doubles, a financial planner shared this with me, that kind of doubles pretty much every 2 years. So if you have a $10,000 balance, it becomes 20,000. Like, even if you're paying, especially if you're paying just the minimum, you're almost never going to get ahead, right? So the solution for paying off a debt is to really make a decision that you're going to make more money, more than you've ever made before. So when you're closing your eyes and you're saying debt, okay, so just feel that. And then obviously the thing is, if let's say your debt is like 10,000, mine was before like 125,000, that means you have to make more than 125,000 in order for you to even pay it off, right? So go switch to 100,000, like you're starting to make 100,000, and then see how your body feels. Just thinking of it, right? Then switch to $1 million. So start finding the frequency that'll actually dissolve the debt, okay? And then go to $10 million. Okay, and then go to $100 million. So your mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. But I just want to share, or ask the audience to share, what happens, because this energy of debt is like owing someone something.
Vivian.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Zaylee is here with the whole, like, from military team.
Yeah.
And she's saying like she needs to speak with me right now.
Oh.
So is there any kind of way that I can?
Oh yeah, this is recorded. So yeah, in about few minutes we're gonna end. So go ahead. Yeah, if you have to do something, that's fine. Yeah. Otherwise you can tell them to wait for you. But yeah. So
Yeah,
if,
they
uh-huh. If it's,
kind of act like they can't wait.
alrighty, go ahead. Go ahead. Awesome.
Can you I'll just like call you. Can I call you? Because I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna. All right.
Right. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks
Okay.
for showing up.
All
Okay.
right.
Amy,
Okay.
I think we have some posts on Facebook. Do you mind reading some of those?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of my screen shifting around on me.
Elle said
Yeah,
that's a
Elle.
strategy, huh? Make more money. Of course. Elle, that is the fun way of doing it. Okay, what else is there?
Elle was also congratulating your clients and congratulating
Yay!
you.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you.
it's amazing.
All right, yeah, I know. And then so what happened to you guys when you started visualizing the debt? Okay, and then when I said, what did I say? $10,000. Like, what's the difference between the feeling there? 10,000, 100,000, a million, and 10 million, and 100 million.
When you went to 10 million and 100 million, I felt very expansive.
Right. That's
like
the feeling,
numbers
right?
didn't scare me the
Yep.
way that I thought they would have. I felt more
Yeah.
expansive. I thought, oh, look at what I can do.
Yes. So
with all
the
of
can,
this.
right, from yesterday,
Yeah.
you cannot, those are limiting beliefs of the mind. So the mind will only tell you everything about your history. Now, if we created a debt in our lives, okay, it's not that bad. It just means that most likely we are unconsciously creating our lives in the past. So when you look back in the past, right, because I'm one of them as well, I've created a 6-figure debt, right, 125K to be exact. And I remember I realized that feeling was, I was thinking, it's like a self-sabotage thought. It's like, what are you thinking? You shouldn't endanger your family. You know, like all these negative thoughts came running through my head. It's like I was the judge, I was the critic, I was blaming myself, and I was criticizing myself all at the same time and feeling guilty. And all those are very low frequency. When I look at energetics of debt, right, owing someone something, it could have been a past life issue that I've had. I could have been a prisoner. I had shackles in my ankles, shackles in my wrists. Like those are the things in my head that were showing up when I was in the middle of the debt. So the goal here is for you to move up, like raise your frequency, almost like an eagle flying above your head and going, all right, I'm going to do this temporarily, but I'm going to decide to solve this. Right? Like you decide that you're going to solve the issue. You're not going to stay in the mud, because when you keep on criticizing, sabotaging yourself, that's what happens is you just go deeper and deeper into this debt. So it looks like a big hole, like a prosperity hole that you're going through. So we have Catherine and Pam. Let's bring up any issues that came up for you guys when I had you visualize that different amounts of money. Catherine, can you speak? I wonder if she can talk. Sometimes she has kids. Catherine, you go ahead and unmute yourself. No.
You have to call her the Restoration Master.
Oh, Miss Restoration Master, go ahead and unmute yourself. Pam, why don't you talk first, because you're here. So what shows up for you when it comes to debt and the different amounts of money?
Was that in the past? Right now? It's all receiving now.
Was that in the past? No, like right now when I said debt, like what's the feeling in the body? And then when it was 10,000, 100,000, $1 million, $10 million, 100 million, like how does it feel? Is there a difference now in those gradations or that scale for you?
Yeah, before it was very tight. Now it's like it just flows.
Right, because now you're focused more on the solution rather than the problem, right?
Yes.
So this debt thing, by the way, ask yourself, do you think you owe your parents your life? because one of you said, I wanted to just give it to my parents immediately, you know, like she wanted to just take care of them. And that's a normal, natural human behavior, right? Because we care so much. But then think about, is that a way for you to cover something that maybe they're asking you to give them? You know, like everybody has a different need. Money can't just cover everything up, okay? Remember that. We don't really need a lot of money. We need it for basic necessity, but once you go past that, you'll notice some people, they don't really need the money. They want your time. They want, you know, just to hang out with you. They want to laugh with you. They want to hug you. They need something beyond what money can give you, right?
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, Lauren, what was your thing about that? About the different...
about the
different gradations of the money versus debt. Yeah.
Once you get through the anxiety attack, almost, right, the panic attack, then you create that space where actually I just feel like I'm kicking butt on just knocking down this debt thing.
Yep.
And being more neutral about it and feeling like I've conquered this.
Yeah, it does feel better. Of course, it feels lighter when you're able to finish that, right? Like to finally be over that. Right. Now, what makes people have a recurring debt, right? You know how a lot of us go through life and we have this 125K and then you go back to your pattern, like you feel happy, celebratory, and then you do it again, okay? So what causes that? Usually it's when we say energetic boundaries, right? So in one of my TV shows, I talked about the physical energetic boundaries. What are those? If you had witnessed some form of an abuse in the family or trauma, meaning to say maybe your mom hitting your dad or vice versa, your dad hitting your mom, there's always verbal arguments, perhaps you've been sexually abused or molested, because it's a physical part of you that has been penetrated, right? When you have these types of trauma, you tend to actually have these recurring debt patterns, because deep inside there is you really don't feel you deserve it. You don't feel you're worthy of anything, basically. Or some people, even when they were, you know, through birth, right? If your mother tried to abort you, there was a lot of argument while you were even in the womb. Perhaps you've had, you know, the different birth trauma, forceps, maybe you were drugged, you know, like your mom used drugs. So all of these things, like these negative things that may have had happened to you, some of them, like I said, are not like, it's not just a pattern of why do I spend more money when I really didn't have it, right? Because behind that underlying is a self-worth and a valuation issue. That's how deep this money thing goes. So like I said in the show, the more trauma you have related to money, because as you're growing up, you're observing all these, right? And so when you start to link, oh, when they fight about money. Like there's always in our head a picture of linking money to something emotional, something spiritual, like, you know, if you're fighting about, okay, how much can I donate to church? How much can I withhold for my family? Like all these basic needs, like they cause an issue energetically in our lives. So that's how deep this money thing goes. So even if in your mind it shows the shackles and all that good stuff, if you look at yourself and go, okay, where am I attached to? Like if you feel like I can't get out of the house without permission, like those little details, like the things you tolerate because you think it's normal every single day of your life, they impact you in your money decisions. Like that's how deep this goes. So that's the reason why when people come to me for money problems, I know it looks like, well, you just have to be positive. That's never true, okay? It's never true that you just have to have a positive mindset and things will show up for you. In my practice, like you notice this quantum leaping that we're doing, right, for my clients, it's never, never, never the case. There's always something deeper than what you think it is, because when we associate something negative with money, there you go. That just lowers your frequency. It brings you down. It almost creates the shackles or the metals or whatever anchor you have that's attached to you. Does that make sense? I'm going deep into my soapbox. Okay, so, and I know we're past the 30 minutes, but I know this is a little deeper topic. And if you guys are okay with us continuing, or if you have any questions, please feel free to talk about, what it is. So your homework, by the way, so look at me, I'm moving very fast, right? So let me pause. Let me ask the audience where they are with what I just said. So as you notice, I'm like, delete, delete, delete. Lauren, go ahead and share with me how did that land with you? Whatever I just said about debt and money.
Oh, totally. When I look back as to when I got a chunk of change, and then I was so thrilled about knocking some of the debt off, and then all of a sudden something else comes up.
Yep.
And it just and now that I'm in a different space right now, I look back and I'm thinking, gosh, what a vicious cycle. And it's like, okay, well, that's the past. What I can do now is not repeat it.
Yeah.
And just continue to resonate how good this feels.
Yes, it's okay to feel good, right? Because I think as we're growing up, you know how there's always the scolding, like in our family, it's like, you gotta be good, as if like you're not good enough. So I almost had to behave. I had to behave when I was young, but deep inside you're like, can I just be this kid that just wants to try something? And no, it's kind of like everything is like suppressed, right? So can you imagine, what other problems that I've had because of that? So think about that, right? So if you were not allowed to express yourself when you were young, you're gonna have to express it somewhere. It'll come out, because our spirit is supposed to soar and fly. Like even last night when I was meditating on what to discuss here, I'm always like in the moment, in the present, right? That's me. I was like, well, what is this energy? But then I remember I promised to talk about debt, right? So that it feels like a lid. You know how when something's boiling and then there's just this lid on top, and I'm like, oh, I gotta come out. I gotta come out. Because we're all capable of making money, but then if you don't feel worthy or deserving of receiving it, so money is really a receiving issue, you guys. It's not to work hard to get ahead. So if in your mind, the only way you can make money is to just work, like physically do something with your hands, you may want to look into that, right? It's something else. There's so many infinite ways of making money, but in your mind, if that's only one way, and that's the only way you can take, that's where the limitation in the box comes in. Because what happens if you have so much more than you can spend? What are you going to do about it? I mean, have you thought about it?
It's a good issue to have.
It's a different issue altogether. It's a totally different issue.
One of the things that I noticed is that when I did pay my debt down, then when I saw things, I also adjust my mindset to say, instead of saying those words, do I need it or want it? And I just step back and I say, I could have that.
Yes.
And then just kind of like resonate on that. And instead of acting impulsive about it, do I really, want to have it or need, all that stuff that comes. Right. So it just kind of helps with it. It's all in alignment of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally you can have anything you want if you really decide that, right? That's the part that when I bring in clients to my fold, right? My Gold VIP or my 90-day success clients, their decision comes first. You've heard of the decide, commit, succeed. They decide, and this is the fun part, because when I start working with them, they're not really, how they think they're going to do a lot. It looks like we're doing a lot, but we're just moving energies. we're decluttering so fast that somehow, because I told them decisions can be made within 10 seconds. Okay, what is your choice? This or this or that, right? That's that. It's not like a big deal. But if there's so many stories related to the decision, then that just weakens the energy. Yeah. All right. If I have too much money, humanitarian projects, free energy for all. That's Catherine, the restoration master, and homes. So see, I love helping these heart-centered entrepreneurs because they really want to help, right? They want to help this world. They would like to make a difference. And so it's just fun to have this prosperous mindset because it's true. Remember I told you yesterday, if you don't cut nature, like think about the weeds that's growing in your backyard's going to be full of weeds. So it's our mind that limits us from being abundant, right? So one thing about debt, okay? So because this is our homework, we're going back to our topic today about debt. So number one, you have to decide to make more than enough money that would cover that debt. That's the first thing that you're going to need to really decide upon, that you're going to make more money than whatever that debt is. And the one practical thing that you can do to really feel abundant is if you can carry like $100 or whatever makes you feel abundant, $500, maybe, I don't know, maybe $20 makes you feel abundant. Just make sure you always have cash in your wallet or in your pocket and you carry that around with you, but please do not spend it. You just know that you have it, and you can have whatever you see in the store. It's just you're choosing, again, consciously choosing what you'd like to have for that moment, right? So that's the second practical thing that you can do. And the third one I would suggest is to put away money for savings. It could be in a can or a jar. It could be in a bank. It could be anywhere. Every single time you receive money, you need to put things away first before you actually pay down your debt. And I would remove the word debt from my vocabulary, and you can call it your past expenditures. So normally when you delete the energy, the heavy energy of what debt brings, sometimes it's not even yours. Sometimes it's your parents. Sometimes it's your ancestors, or it's generational. And if you think you need to, like you have this need to pay off your family's debt, that's another IOU thing, right? And that is very deep and that is very heavy. So when something becomes an obligation, just think about it. If you're married, you think it's your obligation to do something. How does that feel? It's heavy. Obligation is like, oh, why do I have to start my day like that, right? So you want to release that feeling, because it's not a good feeling when you hear like, remember you should do this and you shouldn't do that. Like that's an obligation. Really? Like there are two things you got to do in life. You got to live and you got to die. Those are the two things, right? And everything else is an option. Just think of it that way. You are choosing whatever work you're doing. You're choosing your friends, you're choosing your partner, you're choosing everybody in your life. So do you feel obligated or indebted to this person? That's the reason why I don't do trades. I did a Facebook Live the other day on trades to my group. Trades is, it's a very kind of blur, I call it blurred lines. Because let's say I've done something good for you and you've done something good for me. If I don't expect anything back, then there's really no attachment there, right? There's no codependency either. But then in my head, let's say I've done something for you. Let's say I do energy work and then somebody else did some production work, right? And then they say, let's just trade. If we have the same amount of charge for the hour, great. It may be an equal exchange in your mind, right? Because who says that this is worth like $1,000 and who says that that service is worth $1,000, $500? Because if the other person doesn't value herself that much, then she may just charge $500 or $200. So then it's uneven, right? There's like an unevenness somehow in the ethers in our mind what's the difference in the value of the exchange. So trade, if both of you agree in the beginning, maybe that's a good idea, like that there's an evenness there. But if it's not, there's no agreement, the other person always doesn't feel very good if they feel they got gypped, or is like, oh, my value was more, you know, because the mind plays a lot of these tricks, right? Causing a lot of negativity or some friction or resistance. So the clearer the communication, that's the reason why we have language and we can talk, the better, instead of assuming that that it's okay. So I stopped doing that long time ago and just say, this is the cost or the value of that. And then the other person said, this is my service. And then we agree, and then we sign the contract, and then exchange services. That's how that works. All right. Any question? No more debt, okay? Past expenditure. So then there's really no trigger to that, right? Does that feel better, that word past expenditure? Because it's past. You can't go back to it. You can release all the energies associated with that. Any other questions, Amy, on our Facebook Live there? No more debt.
We don't have questions, but we do have a few comments.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Let's see. Yeah. Ella is saying one of her deepest desires is to fund the much needed medical research to eradicate lupus and other autoimmune diseases.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Elle, there's the energy there, like you can spearhead that, but you don't have to do it alone. That's kind of like the support needed from others. That's the part wherein you have to release control of your ability, because you could do it, but then it's so much easier when more people are engaged in that vision, and then everybody helps one another. That's what I'm getting there for you. So I hope that helps you unload some of that.
Elle also says that she loves the simplicity of your message, particularly when we're thinking about eliminating debt and the best approach to doing so. It goes against everything she's ever been taught about eliminating debt, like cutting back on spending, saving more, things like that.
So when you cut back, you notice when you cut back, there's a feeling of contraction. Do you guys feel that way? When you, like when
absolutely.
I go on a diet, I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. And the more my mind wants to fight that, because I have a rebellious mind, you know, I go, I don't think so. So I just delete all the negative feelings associated with that. And then I give myself permission to be, right? To do what I need to do. I've neutralized so much about food, about my thought patterns, my attitude, my behavior, a lot. So then, you know, I'm more free to make choices for myself. Cool. Oh, they love the making choices. I can see the hearts on Facebook.
Yeah. When you change it, when you shift it from I have to give something up, or, you know, I have to do this, and turn it around and say, I get to choose. Yeah. And this is what I'm choosing. I'm not losing out on anything. I'm just choosing something else.
Yeah. So it's a choice every day. And I just think of a day as a lifetime. So then, hey, if I'm not alive tomorrow, at least I've done the best I can today, right? That's how I see things a lot. And honestly, the mind complicates so many things. And I was a victim of that in the past, right? And then I go, I just need to quiet this mind of mine. Because once you connect to your insight, your intuition, your physical intelligence, and universal intelligence, every answer is there. But somehow, you know, we humans have to complicate things. That's normal. It's all good. And then I go, okay, I'm being human again. Let me see, what if I'm a little bit more angelic, and what if I'm connected to source? Then I have a different opinion on things and mindset and everything else, right? So like even today, the you guys heard the COVID president and the first lady has COVID-19, right? And of course, me and my mind has some things on that, and then I go, okay, let's just be quiet and see what's next. Because we all, if we allow and respect one another and really I guess show or express like well-being towards everybody, it's just going to be a different world altogether. So this money thing, like I said, money is never the problem. I say you are the problem all the time. We're the problem. Our minds are the problem because we think a certain way, right? So money is always available to us if we're in the flow. And so that's always my goal. Whoever comes into my circle, this prosperity mindset, right? It allows us to shift our perception, because I notice this when I work with my 90-day success clients or my gold VIP clients. The way I do this is I just create containers. So I've created like a small container for those that are just transitioning. Perhaps they're from an employee going into business ownership, two different mindsets altogether, right? So then I started noticing that when I create the container, I let go of the responsibility that I'm responsible for them, because I'm not, right? When you are a coach or a healer and you're bringing people to the fold, and I learned this from my mentor, you create containers for them to step into. When they step into the container, then the energy of the container is created. It's not me responsible for them, right? Because in the past, there's that guilt feeling like, oh my God, what if they didn't make the 6 figures? What if they didn't make the 7 figures? But obviously, if my clients are making 9 figures, like very fast, in less than 90 days, something is working, because the spiritual laws are being applied together with the physicality of it all. So money is never the problem. Okay, we just put too many things attached to it. So if you guys can delete a lot of your money stories and write down all your money stories, I'm going to tell you what to do with them tomorrow, because we're going to have another Facebook Live tomorrow, right, at 9 o'clock. So today, that's your homework, right? Because if you look at your debt and you feel a lot of things about that, write down, just journal about it. Like, what are the feelings that you are sensing with this past expenditure that you have? Because if you have a lot of the guilt, the shame, the criticism, the blame, all negative emotions, reactions, sensations, you're not going to be able to make that 6, 7, 8, 9 figures, right? It's just impossible, because this is weighing you down. So your homework today is to really like write about your money stories. That's your job today. And most likely that's associated with someone in your life. And you can pay attention to that too. It's like, who am I treating like this, or who's treating me like this? Because if you think someone is treating you a certain way and you feel a certain way, that's always correlated with your money problems. A lot of your body problems are usually related with money problems, by the way. I hate to break it to you, but it is what it is. Simple, right? Anyway, okay, well, thank you. I think we went super over, and thank you everyone for staying with me. Yep, write out your money stories, and then you can put that on the chat or on Facebook tomorrow, and let's see how we can help you with that, okay? Prosperity Mindset Challenge. Now, is there specific questions or topics you want me to cover tomorrow? I just want to know. Is there anything there that you want me to?
Vivian, the question I have is, when I hear the word money, lots of money, definitely I get excited.
Yep.
And then maybe tomorrow, just help me correlate with staying neutral about having money.
Yes.
So that's the part where I just keep tossing my head on, what does that mean?
Yes, exactly. Because if your physical body hasn't experienced what having more money than you can ever spend likes, you don't have a reality yet, right? And if people in your life, in your circle, let's say you make a certain amount of money, usually you hang out with people that also make that certain amount of money, right? The 5 people we hang out with, versus when we start hanging out with the 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 figure people. Totally different energy, right? And totally different mindset. So how to make 6 figures and how to make 7 figures or 8, 9, different energy altogether, right? So that's why. But thank you for bringing that up. The reality is different for most of us, and for us to lift everybody up, honestly, without money, you can't really influence anybody, right? Nobody's going to listen to you because you don't have anything. So that alone would be, if you want to change the world, that alone could be a good motivation for you to actually have more so that you can help more. So we're gonna do this again tomorrow. I'm excited. I want to share with you guys, like, I'm so excited when I'm teaching. I'm like, I can talk all day. So, but I don't know if you guys can receive me all day like that. So anyway, thank you today for being here, and I will see you again tomorrow at 9.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Anytime, any
Pam, you are
second.
so cute. Yeah, thank you, Pam. Thank you, Lauren, Amy, Catherine, and everybody else on Facebook Live. I think we have Rosemary. I don't know who else is there, but thank you for everyone who came. I'll see you again tomorrow, okay? Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. That's funny. That is so cool. Oh, where's my